for documentary channel.
Look at it. Well, another day, a couple more dollars. We in here working on this car for Eric Galloway, one of the subscribers. So I've always heard for years, you can't go through and do coilovers with a stock gas tank. Well, guess what we're gonna do? We cut this hole here, cut the hole over there. I'm gonna go through and recess this down in here and put my tabs, and we're gonna have, well, I went ahead and drill me a hole right here where I want my center of my shock to be, and on both sides, and that way I can measure it. But I come in here and cut it so I can get around it and weld it. I gotta clean this up a little bit, but we're gonna let you know. I'm gonna show you something how I'm gonna do this. So we slit the floor right here on both sides so we can put our pipe in here, and I'll show y'all. So I got my brackets here, so I measure from here to there, and I turn around. Basically, I put my bracket in, I cut my hoop. That way I knew where I want my pieces to be at on both sides. So now we're gonna go through, we're gonna cut our distance for our tube. That way I can weld the tube in and I can weld the tabs on it. Then we can put the gas tank back in it and seal all that back off. All right, so we got our bar stuck down in here right now. Still loose, still gotta weld it in, but that's how it's gonna be. Now I can come around here, I can start welding it around here. Well, on that side, we still gotta clean that one little bracket piece up there. We can weld this thing around. And well, I'm gonna make sure it's level now. I'm gonna level to the trunk of the car to that. Then we can get it welded in. Once we get it welded in, we can put our tabs on it. We'll be good to go. Put the anti-roll bar up in here. Got the coilovers. We're taking the old shocks off of it. I brought these in a little bit inwards. That way we get it away from all this up in here rubbing. I said everything looks good up in here. So we'll pull the shocks off of it, get the gas tank back in it. Get all this tight, get everything adjusted, ready to go. I got it sitting down where I want it for right now. I got it right on top of the tire. Now I got to square the rear end up. I got the lower control arm screwed all in. Now I got to adjust the uppers. So let's get in here and let me show y'all. All right, as you can tell, we pulled the other coilovers off. I got all this adjusted how I want it. You can tell if you look at it, that pinion's facing uphill and that drive shaft goes downhill. We got to pull that all down. So we're going to screw it all in, and then we're going to adjust it to where we want it, and then square the rear end up under the car. All right, guys, so I start out by taking the lower control arms here, and I screw them all the way in, get them as short as possible, and that way you don't have threads that you ain't got to worry about the heim joint breaking. Then I come here and I take my uppers and I adjust them. So if you look, the tire gap from here to here, to even it up, you got these upper control arms here. Well, this upper control arm, so say I need to move it towards the driver's side, I'll shorten this side and I'll lengthen the one on the other side, and that'll shift the body under the car one way. If I need to go towards the passenger side, I'll lengthen the driver's side and shorten the passenger. And that's how I get it once I get my pinion angle where I want it. So we're all set on that, we're ready to go. You can lift it up, Josh. Y'all check this out. Getting a Pro Mod turbo. Pro Mod James getting his big motor off his car for us to race Thursday night with. My turbo is messed up, so we're going to borrow his turbo to put on my car. We get a weight break, and we're going to be able to go pretty fast with it. So let's get this thing off real quick. So we're going to pull that thing off, assess the damage here in just a minute. I'm going to put this on. I'll show y'all kind of the difference in between the two of them side by side. Let me get the housing off here real quick. So I know what happened to this. If you look right there, see the rubber? Last Thursday at Shady Side when I threw the belt off, I guarantee it got sucked in here. I used to keep my boost tube through the hood, just so that way if a belt ever slung off, it wouldn't get sucked in there. That was the #1 reason I could have prevented all of this. But see, you see rubber down in there. This turbo right here is an X275 turbo. They've been 431 that I know of at 171 mile an hour with this style turbo on a little bit bigger motor than what I have at 100 pounds more weight than I have. This right here is hands down the baddest S488 they ever created. I don't know of nobody that has been faster than we have with this turbo. This turbo has put 3 vehicles out of Nigel's shop into the 4s. This turbo right here I can just tell you this: at the weight that we're going to be at Shadyside Thursday, we could probably go in the 470 range with this turbo right here. I'll show you the differences. So let's pop the top off of it. So let's see if I can get this up off of it. Slide them a little closer. Okay, you can already see the difference, can't you? So if you come right here, you come tip to tip. We take it out of inches. Let's turn it to millimeters. So if you come in here, it's roughly 88 millimeters tip to tip. You know what I mean? Pretty much. That little edge there to that little corner there. If you come over here, pretty much the same. It's a little smaller. This ain't the correct tool to be measuring with, but this is 88. It's got an S488. But like I said, it's a little bit right there. The biggest difference in these turbos is that back piece. This thing right here is 140. Let's freaking slide this down. Roughly, I think it's right there at 141 or 42, if I'm not mistaken, if you can get all the way down there to it, you know what I mean? That's about 141 or 2. We'll call it 142. But look at that. See that? Just for instance. That's how much bigger that is. This is a 133, so I get a 100-pound weight break in Shadyside Outlaw. This turbo cannot run with this turbo mile per hour. This turbo right here can run over this turbo in the 60 foot going to the 330. If you really get after it, this whole thing right here really comes alive. It's hard to keep front end down with this turbo. This turbo right here, you ain't got to get after it. It rolls out the back door. Let me flip over. I'll show you the exhaust housings real quick. Now in turbo world, this is where the magic happens. So this right here is a 112 back housing. This is a 158. 158 is larger than a 112, number wise. If this was a 158 and this turbo, this thing would be freaking this big. It would be massive, massive. It'd be super, super wide, super thick. This is where you make your power in V8 stuff. It ain't that other side. It's this side. That 88 don't matter nothing. This right here, you got to get the air out of it. You have to be able to get the boost out of it. So what it is that's a mathematical equation. So the 112 is a mathematical equation off of a exhaust wheel. A big exhaust wheel like this. Where this exhaust wheel is somewhere about right there, if you really get on top of it. Like I said, that's not the proper way to measure, but you can see the difference in how large the exhaust is. So this wheel being larger, the 112, you can have a 112 on your Honda, you can have a 140, you can have those numbers. That just means that's a mathematical equation off of how big this wheel is. So you can have a 132 is a very common size. Well, that 132, if this wheel right here was 60 millimeters, it'd be a little bitty thing. But being that this wheel is as big as it is, it makes this massive. So if you multiply this wheel by 1.40, it would be even freaking massive, massive. So this right here is what makes this turbo the baddest one of its kind, period. This ain't but a 96 millimeter exhaust wheel. But I don't know of a 103 millimeter S488 with a 103 that has been faster than this turbo has been, period. This thing right here is, we've held on this thing for a long time. Like I said, James had it on his car. It's a super, super, super good turbo. So we're going to turn around and we're going to put it on my car and we're going to see how it does, all right? So I stayed over at Nigel's till 1 o'clock. Piddling the other night. Turbo's mounted, downpipe's built. I come over here, put the limiters back on it. I need to tighten the shocks up. While we're here, let me go ahead and turn my camera on. Turn my light on. Let's see here. We are going for rebound. And we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 on rebound on that side. So let's go. Rebound is the back one on this side, yeah. Let's see. Sorry if it's blurry. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I got the limiters back on it. Yeah, I'm tightening out a little bit tighter than I normally run them, so it might spin the tires. Don't know. We'll figure out when we get there to the track. So the limiters are tighter, shocks are adjusted. I'm fixing to pop the trunk on it and pull the weight we stuck in the trunk Sunday out of it. I still think there's more weight that has to come out the car to be 2,900 because with that turbo right there, I get a weight brake. So it's a beautiful thing about running the smaller turbos. So I'm gonna get my hood put on it, get my valence, and then start pulling the weight out of it. So we pulled all the weight out of the trunk. I still think we're gonna be, if my guess is right, I'm probably still 60 pounds heavy. I think this right here is about 35 pounds on that. And then that, whatever that little weight is, it's an 11-pound weight. So it's about 40 more pounds right there. We'll still probably be 20 pounds heavy. I got more weight right here. It belongs to John Lee up in there. I could always pull that out. We'll see. We'll see what we get when we get to the track. We'll see what we weigh. Anyways, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. I'll see you one later. I appreciate y'all.